This is WFYI News Now. It's December 30th, and I'm Eric Weddle. On today's show, there's good news for college-bound students about getting admitted into their dream school. Marion County residents can apply to get help paying their heating bill starting January 1st, and the number of police-involved shootings in Indianapolis remained high in 2024.
Our cops do a damn good job of de-escalating and bringing things to a successful conclusion. And when we don't get it right, we'll take accountability and we'll deal with it.
Those stories coming up, but first, Indianapolis Fire Department officials say the cause of a fire that destroyed a historic church Christmas Eve is still unknown. The 1875 structure was so damaged that IFD was unable to conduct an interior investigation. Contractors continued the job of tearing down the Gothic and Romanesque style brick and limestone building this week. The church was designed by Indianapolis architect Peter Cookingham. The downtown building was home to the city's oldest Lutheran congregation before being converted to an event space. December is an anxious time of year for many high school seniors as they scramble to finish college applications and wait to learn where they are admitted. But WFYI reporter Dylan Pierce-McCoy has good news for many families. U.S. colleges, and some in Indiana, are accepting a greater percent of applicants.
Almost 90% of four-year colleges in the U.S. admit most or all of the students who apply, and that number has grown over the last decade. Most of Indiana's four-year colleges are accepting a greater percent of applicants. That includes competitive schools like Indiana University in Bloomington and Butler University. But there are exceptions. Purdue University in West Lafayette and the University of Notre Dame both admit a smaller percent of applicants now than they did 10 years ago. One reason why colleges are accepting more students is because fewer high school graduates are going to college. That means there are fewer teens vying for spots. I'm Dylan Pierce-McCoy.
For Marion County residents struggling to pay their heat bills, they can get help through the Winter Assistance Fund. WFYI's Abrianna Herron reports applications open January 1st.
United Way of Central Indiana's annual program aids Indianapolis residents with full coverage of gas and electric bills during the winter. Crystal Walker is a manager with United Way. She says the program supports residents who earn too much money to qualify for government assistance, but still needs help paying their utility bills.
We see that is a critical need, and so this is where we want to step in and kind of be that extra layer of support.
Last year, the organization was able to assist over 340 households in Marion County. Walker hopes to aid more families this year. Applicants must live in Marion County and meet United Way's income guidelines. Residents will need their ID, utility bill, and an income statement to apply. The program will run until May 31st or whenever funds run out. I'm Abrianna Herron.
And our final story today, the number of police-involved shootings in Indianapolis remained high in 2024. WFYI's Abrianna Herron reports that officers with the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department were involved in 16 shootings this year.
That number is down slightly from last year when IMPD had 18 shootings and entered into a review with the U.S. Department of Justice. The DOJ is looking at data, policies, and practices instituted by the department. IMPD Chief Christopher Bailey says they have submitted all required materials and are awaiting a draft of the review. Bailey touted officers for their handling of dangerous situations.
Our cops do a damn good job of de-escalating and bringing things to a successful conclusion. And when we don't get it right, we'll take accountability and we'll deal with it.
Bailey expects the DOJ report to come out in the next 5 months. There were 10 police shootings recorded in 2022 and just 4 in 2018. I'm Abrianna Herron.
That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Drew Daudelin and Zach Bundy with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and sitting in for Abrianna Herron, I'm your host, Eric Weddle. If you liked today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next year on Thursday.